G'day readers, lovers of the Gothic, lovers of the Victorian age, historians and teachers and students of Frankenstein, the Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. I'm going to talk to you about how the novel Frankenstein is relevant today. This is the age in which Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley lived. The year is different, we're not in the 1810s or 1830s anymore. Frankenstein was published in 1818 and republished in 1831, but the scientific and engineering developments today are just as frightening and epoch-changing as in the first half of the 19th century. Or even more so. Frankenstein was the first science ethics book, you could say, and now is the time we need it. For example, if AI is deployed purely at the wonder of its capability, without thought as to its potential negative social effects on the roles and jobs of humans, then there could be serious, unhappy repercussions. About gene editing, explained in the book A Crack in Creation by the Nobel Prize-winning Professor Jennifer Doudna about her technology CRISPR, creating the ability to selectively edit genes. You will find Professor Doudna is acutely aware of the potential negative effects on the human race. The possible futures this could create are beautifully explained in Sapiens and in the book Homo Deus by Professor Yuval Noah Harari. What could any of these technologies do if not tempered by human kindness and moulded by human needs? What could happen to families with so-called natural genes when some few could improve their own with CRISPR, creating a race of even slightly improved people who could then further improve with the benefit of CRISPR in each generation? Even the perception of such improvement would have far-reaching social effects. Even if creating super people is too far-fetched, as Professor Doudna explains. Nanotechnology and its ability to work at the cellular level intentionally inside our bodies. Consider the impacts. Read Eric Drexler's Engines of Creation. Spy agencies and other organizations with access to these technologies could implant undetectable devices wherever they chose, even in building materials and clothes, as well as in bodies, for unimaginable consequences, perhaps spawning a new genre of horror stories. We shouldn't be alarmist. Shelley was not saying that technology is all bad, and was exploring a far-fetched scenario for entertainment. But there is a message to be wary of. How we deploy technology, just as Dr. Victor Frankenstein himself became wary. Shelley's novel Frankenstein warns about the risks of pure capability over human connection, and what a machine or creation that lacks human connection, or the ability to engage in it, might do. It's more than a negative warning, it's a positive guide. Technologies have to be driven by human needs, not pure capability. Purpose determined in advance, and then create the technology. Dr. Victor Frankenstein created it in order just to do it, and then the problems came. He didn't have a benefit for humans in mind or a purpose for the creation in advance. Gene editing's purpose is to avoid hereditary illness, not to make superhumans. Perhaps it should be government funded, so equally available to all, so there aren't differential benefits for insurance premiums. Perhaps even WHO funded, so equally distributed worldwide. Not saying this is the solution, and it has its own problems, but just indicating in advance the kind of thinking that's needed. The purpose, which is intertwined with how it will be deployed. If it is to benefit all people, then there needs to be a mechanism and availability to deliver it to all humans who need it, wherever they are born or wherever they live. Moving to nanotechnology, is it for spies or is it for medicine? Is it for autonomous home building or for nanobot warfare alongside chemical, biological and nuclear methods of harming and killing at scale? Decide in advance so the design and delivery or distribution mechanism match the purpose. Make it really hard for it to be used other than for its intended purpose. If there is no purpose other than to build it, we can be sure that there will be regrettable uses, or more regrettable uses, as Dr. Victor Frankenstein found when he had no advanced purpose except simply to build it, or to prove that he could. Onto AI technology. Is it actually for reducing mundane work so people have more leisure that they can then use for satisfying and/or productive purposes? Or is it for mass unemployment and a new underclass and a new powerful cause of homelessness? Decide in advance. Don't just build it and then worry about the consequences, or worse still, regret creating it immediately upon having done so, just like Dr. Victor Frankenstein regretted creating his creature. These are some reasons why Shelley's novel Frankenstein is as relevant today as ever. Thanks for listening. Add a comment, like this video if you found it interesting or useful, and check out the Austie Classics edition of Frankenstein at the link below.